COVID-19 continues to impact every segment of the beef supply chain, from the pasture all the way to the consumer plate. Now, for a closer look at the situation, we turn to Troy Applehans with CattleFax. Troy, weaning time is coming up for many folks, including me. What's the market outlook for these calves this fall?
You know, this calf market really hasn't fluctuated a whole lot since probably March time frame. Typically, in most years, we will get about a 12% decline from your early spring price to your low price in the fall. And obviously, this year's been quite a bit different in a lot of aspects, but we had a 174 high price, about 174, and this is based on a U.S. average 550-pound steer that occurred in February, which was a little bit earlier than normal, but as we all know, the events that occurred throughout the year right about that time declined prices pretty substantially. And we've already kind of priced in that 12% decline when we got calves down into kind of the low to mid 150s, and really kind of expecting a sideways pattern from now through the fall. Probably not going to see the typical big decline in values into the October timeframe that we typically see. We can certainly see these steer calf prices weighing 5.5 on a U.S. average, running from 155 to 165, kind of through that fall time frame. And obviously, we continue to see some pretty big discounts on the heifer calves. The heifer mates are about $15 to $20 a hundredweight back of their steer mates.
I know farmers in Iowa were recently hit very hard with some bad weather. What are you hearing about the impact this will have on this year's corn crop projections?
That was certainly a devastating event. 2020 continues to throw us a lot of curveballs, that's for sure. We certainly feel for those producers who endured that hardship. And the estimates have come in all over the place, Kevin, with regards to how much of the crop has been damaged. The estimates run anywhere from 50 million bushels to all the way to 300 million bushels, and I'm not sure anybody's got a really good estimate on that. Obviously, we have had the crop condition index for corn drop in the past couple of weeks due to heat and drought and those types of things, and so we've got a tremendous uncertainty regarding the corn crop going into harvest this fall.
So how do you see that impacting cattle feeders? And specifically, what's the outlook for placements as we move into the fall?
With regard to the placements into the fall, I mean, they're going to continue to be big. This past cattle on feed report indicated placements that were about 11% over a year ago and exceeded all the estimates. These big numbers will continue. You have to remember that we placed about 1 million fewer cattle than a year ago into feed yards from that February through May timeframe. Now, we've made up some ground since then, but there are quite a few yearlings still to come, at least through the end of September and likely into October as well. I think we'll have some relief will come due to a smaller calf crop of just over about 250,000 head this year. So not quite as many calves will be in the mix, which will ease the pressure on the placement pattern. But one major concern that we have at this point is obviously the drought in a large portion of the southern plains in the winter grazing regions. And if that grazing is severely limited, those calves will have to go somewhere, and it very, very well may be directly to the feed yard.
Now, I've heard, Troy, that there's still a backlog of cattle caused by the plant close downs this last spring. How long is it going to be until we work through that? And is there a concern about carcass size or even the quality of those cattle going through these plants?
The industry as a whole has done an excellent job of getting through the backlog, Kevin, of fed cattle. And just as importantly, cattle feeders have done a tremendous job of trying to manage through this burdensome supply as well. Our data indicates that, if current slaughter levels remain close to where they are, that the fed cattle supply will be close to or even below year-ago levels by October. Again, the 1 million fewer cattle than a year ago that were placed into feed yards from February to May created a hole in the place-to-get supply of fed cattle during this fall time frame, and it allowed the industry to catch up on the backlog supply. You did mention the carcass weights. I mean, they've been big all year. and we're at a time frame when carcass weights begin to move higher normally anyway. So we'll probably see a modest increase into the fall, and beef production is going to continue to be big, but thankfully so is demand. As far regarding the quality has been great as these cattle are big and grading tremendously well in the low 80% range of cattle that are grading choice or better. Naturally, when cattle are this big, however, we're going to tend to see more yield grade 4s and 5s in the mix. But we're producing the highest quality product for the consumer that we ever have. And this is obviously a testament to those involved in all the cattle and beef production segments.
Troy, thanks again for your time. We really appreciate it. Yes,
it's a pleasure to be with you all, and hope we have a tremendous fall, and these calf prices will go up. That's certainly what we need.
For more than 5 decades, CattleFax has been providing producers with the tools they need to make profitable decisions. If you're looking for top-notch beef industry research, information, and analysis, then visit the website CattleFax.com.